So I'm going to start sharing more responses to comments in the comment section because after all, you are part of the community and you are sharing your thoughts. You're taking your time to do that. Some people have typed some really long messages with a lot of details, which shows that you care. And so I'm going to start responding to some of the comments with short videos so that you can see that I am doing my best to read all of the comments and then share my feedback and my thoughts on what is being said. So this first comment that I want to read is one that is of concern to people, particularly people who are ability challenged, people with disabilities who may not be able to access a lot of things in Ghana because Ghana is one of those countries that still doesn't have a lot of wheelchair accessibility. So let me read this comment. Would you please tell me if this place is wheelchair accessible, ramps, and washroom access? I had responded to her, letting her know that it was not wheelchair accessible. And then she responded by saying, thanks for your reply. I have found out the hard way that even brand new establishments in Ghana do not want to include physically challenged people to experience the culture. They don't realize coming from the West, we also have money to spend. Now, I want to thank you for that comment because it is something that is a very serious issue in Ghana, that wheelchair accessibility still is not taken into account and it's still not being made a priority in a lot of new buildings even. So you'll go somewhere and then there's not even a ramp for somebody to come inside on a wheelchair. And it might not even be just someone on a wheelchair. It could be somebody who's walking with a cane, that could be walking with one of those walkers that sometimes you see seniors walking with, or people who may have had injuries and they're having difficulty walking. So you see that sometimes entering the building is difficult because the accessibility is not there. Also, the washrooms. You'll go to a washroom and all of the stalls are narrow. Even for an able-bodied person, some of these places are so narrow. How in the world are you going to fit somebody with a wheelchair when you don't even have wheelchair accessibility washrooms? I have to say kudos to Accra Mall. Accra Mall actually has a wheelchair accessible washroom, and they also have a washroom that's designed for people with families. It has a small, tiny toilet in there for a child, as well as the regular size for an adult. And they have space for baby changing, which is another issue in Ghana, that a lot of washrooms do not include the baby changing. So these are things to consider. If you are a person in real estate, you are making developments, put these things into consideration. People are spending so much money to build these new developments, and then accessibility becomes the least of people's priorities. But there are people who are physically challenged who want to have access to these places too. They want to enjoy themselves as well. They want to know that they can be able to go places and not always have to worry about, can I get inside of this building? So, real estate developers, construction people, I implore you in Ghana, start including the accessibility options for these people because they deserve to have it as well. They deserve to be able to go and enjoy themselves, not be feeling like they're stuck inside. Because there are people right now in Ghana who are disabled, they're on wheelchairs, and they feel like they're trapped at home because they can't go anywhere. The other issue is because there's no sidewalks in some of these places, because I know there's countries where accessibility has been built into the design of places. You can be a person in a wheelchair and you can move around town. Like you can be living in Toronto downtown and you can go from point A to point B. You can take the subway. You go to the subway that has the elevator. Like you have alternatives. And even in Toronto, people have complained that there's not enough accessibility. And I would say, yes, theirs can also be improved. But in Ghana, it's almost non-existent. So please, people who are making these new developments, consider people who have disabilities, people who are physically challenged that need access to. That is what I'm imploring you for today.